Before we begin, I'd like to showcase a funny little interaction I found with Dahlia and him singing a sample for you in a certain voice line. It's different across the 4 languages, and I'd figured I'd just showcase it here rather than make an entire video about it, so here you go.
Why don't we do some vocal warm-ups? Here, like so. La 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 la. La 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 la. Come on, just follow my lead. Yee-yaw, yee-yaw.
先来试试嗓音吧。跟我学。
어디 목을 좀 풀어볼까요? 일단 해보는 건 괜찮잖아요. 자, 저희 따라서.
喉のウォーミングアップをしましょう。やるだけやってみましょうよ。ほらほら、一緒に。
I really love the layout of this courtyard. It reminds me of the times I've gone mischief hunting all over Mondstadt. I can't help but feel like there's still something missing, though. Oh, I know. We need a bard performing in front of a crowd, a little girl secretly tossing bombs into the fountain, and a knight lounging lazily on the bench. If we can get them all together in one place, the atmosphere would be just perfect. I have the exact set of furniture in the room I was given by the church. Seeing it here feels like coming home. Thank you, O Great Traveler, for all you've done to adorn this world. Allow me to compose an ode to exalt your efforts. What? Too dramatic?
Not too long ago, I dreamed of a place much like this. Ever since I mastered the way of rationality, I have forbidden myself from dreaming. All it does is hinder my recovery from training. Yet on occasion, the dreams still come without warning. Sometimes even rationality cannot fully suppress projections of the subconscious mind. If I'm honest, what I desire right now is to stay and rest for a while in this tranquil place. There was a time when all I wanted was to learn everything there was to know. Explore every corner of the universe. Witness all kinds of strange creatures and natural phenomena. And although that desire is long gone, the sight of this carefully curated collection does make me a little nostalgic. Perhaps I should meditate here. Might be more soothing for both my mind and body. This place has some similarities with the Abyss. A fully independent realm, separated from the outside world. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to stay a while. Make sure you leave plenty of open space for me to use. That way, I won't run the risk of damaging the landscape or buildings during my sword practice. I can't quite get used to it. The level of abyssal energy in Teapot is quite low, but here it's even lower still. It makes it hard for me to replenish the energy lost from training. Of course, it's well within my abilities to connect this place directly to the Abyss, but I'm sure you'd rather keep things peaceful and quiet here. No need to worry. Spending some time here isn't without its benefits. I'll just treat it as a rehearsal. We don't always get to pick where we fight our battles. Sometimes we have to fight in conditions that don't suit us. In a similar vein, Master once told me that we can't rely on one form of power forever. If losing one source of power reduces you to a helpless heap, then you never deserved that power to begin with. This place may slowly drain the abyssal power from my body, but in exchange, I can hone my swordsmanship in a purer form. In that sense, it benefits me. So, despite not being used to it, I'm quite happy to stay here a while longer. If you find yourself having time for small talk, you should be spending it on refining your martial prowess instead. Ugh. What would you like to ask? Lonely, huh? Good question. Humans are often plagued by loneliness. Some call it the most agonizing emotion of all. I was once in the same boat. But now I've basically sealed it away through rationality. After conquering my own loneliness, it got me thinking further. Why do we feel lonely at all? Why would such a negative emotion be retained over our eons of evolution? I concluded that it must be because humans have always lived in communities. Loneliness serves no positive function on an individual level. But it has been beneficial for the survival of the species as a whole. Master and I, however, have both evolved individually. Ours has been a different path, away from the collective of humanity. That's why I occasionally observe humans, to consider which useless emotions would be beneficial for me to keep. After all, it is helpful to retain a base ability to empathize with others. So, you're still trying to understand me. I wouldn't say that I've had many fun experiences in my life. The last time I had fun was way back. When I was little, there was a giant lizard that lived in the woods by my house. It wasn't afraid of humans. It was actually quite friendly with them. My mom said that it was hundreds of years old. Don't know if that's true or not. All I know is, it did look pretty old, and spent all its days sunbathing in the treetops. I loved exploring the forest as a child. One day, I was chased by a swarm of hornets, each one the size of my palm. In desperation, I ran to the lizard and begged it for help. To my surprise, the lizard was helpless against the hornets too, so we just ran together, away from the swarm. I was faster and managed to dive into a river, escaping the danger. When I returned to check up on the lizard, it had collapsed upon the ground. I thought it had died, and cried bitter tears as I held it in my arms. I was so devastated that I gave it a proper burial, and even tried to set up a stele in lieu of a tombstone. But before I could finish, my mom caught me. She immediately dug the old lizard out, dressed its wounds, and brought it back from the brink of oblivion. After that, it continued to be friendly with all humans. All except me. Every time it saw me, it would flee like the wind. I don't even know if it survived that fire. Your power to purify the abyss. I'm curious about how I'd tackle that if I ever faced it in battle. Needless to say, I'd have to adapt my strategy. Well, there is only one way to find out. Maybe not now. If we both used our full strength, I doubt even this adepti contraption could withstand the force of our clash. Let's save that fight for another time and place. For now, I'd like to discuss another matter with you. When faced with the abyss, most creatures either fall victim to its corruption, or, like me, adapt and learn to wield it for themselves. You, of course, possess a very special power. Do you have any plans as to how you'd like to use it? An unsurprising answer. It proves that you're still committed to justice and compassion. Many people believe they would help others in a time of crisis. Yet when they obtain the power to do so, concern themselves only with personal gain. What do you think best explains that? A weak will? Or the all-corrupting nature of power? Master once said that for humans, all roads lead back to the self. But I suppose that's not an absolute. Not when there are those like you who are still willing to use their power to help others. Alright, let's leave the discussion here for now. Deep conversations can guide us and help us see the way, but they shouldn't distract us from our training. I'll start my drills now. Let me know if you'd like to join. Everyone experiences desires that they will not speak aloud. When they are too weak to realize these desires, they remain concealed deep within their hearts. But when they are strong, the floodgates will open, and all forms of vice come rushing out. We cannot expect everyone to stay true to their principles, which is why we constrain ourselves with laws. All right, let's leave the discussion here for now. Morning. If you have some free time today, come over and train with me. I can see the fatigue in your face. Go get some rest.
哦，这里看上去与深渊有几分相似，都是一片完全独立的空间，在这里待一段时间也无妨。帮我准备一处开阔的地方，免得炼剑时切碎了山石与房屋。有聊天的时间，不如去提升一下自己的武艺。想听什么？看来你一直想要理解我。我经历过的趣事不算很多，可能要追溯到很久很久以前了。小时候，我家旁边的树林里住着一只亲近人类的巨大蜥蜴。妈妈说它活了几百年，不过谁也不知道真假。只知道它看上去确实老态龙钟，每天就在树上晒太阳。那时候我喜欢去树林里探险，有一次被许多手掌大的马蜂追，我就往蜥蜴的方向跑，向它求救。没想到它也拿马蜂没办法，于是和我一起跑。我跑得比它快，遁入河中逃向远方。回来的时候发现它已经倒地不起，我抱着它哭了好久，以为它死了，就挖坑安葬了它，还立了一块碑。正好被我妈看到，她赶快挖开了土坑，给那只老蜥蜴上药，把它从鬼门关前抢救了回来。从那以后，它依旧对人很亲近，只是见到我就跑，跑得飞快。不知道它有没有跑过那场大火呢？
Hey! Is this where you usually reside? Looks like you've got plenty of space. It feels a little empty, though. Ever thought about inviting a few more people over to hang out, or maybe throwing a party? I like it a lot. Couldn't think of a better place to say my prayers. I haven't found a drinking spot just yet, though. Don't suppose I could persuade you to build a bar here? Barbados brought us seeds and rain on a gentle breeze. So to show our gratitude, we brewed wine from his generous gifts. Good wine is not only a blessing from the Animal Archon, it's a symbol of Mondstadt itself. Given all this, as a member of the Church of Favonius, it'd be far more improper of me to abstain entirely, wouldn't you agree? Wonderful! I know plenty of tavern owners, so leave the drinks procurement to me. Oh, and how about a bard to liven things up a little? I know just the right person. Sure thing. In fact, I've got just the story to share. As the deacon, I occasionally offer life advice. Recently, a couple approached me separately, each seeking my counsel. The husband, a handsome knight and excellent swordsman, was the owner of a treasured family heirloom, an incredibly sharp sword. Unfortunately, he lacked a suitably valuable sheath, so he usually kept it wrapped in a roll of cloth. His wife was a beautiful gardener with a passion for cultivation. Recently, her many years of hard work had finally paid off with the blooming of a rare and stunning flower. Unfortunately, having no greenhouse of her own, she had to keep the delicate flower at an associate's place. As the holidays approached, both husband and wife hoped to surprise each other with the perfect, thoughtful gift. As you may have guessed, the husband wished to present his wife with a greenhouse of her own. However, being of modest means, his only way to secure the necessary funds was by selling off his sword. The wife, on the other hand, wished to give her husband an exquisitely crafted sheath to go with his sword. Like her husband, she could only achieve this by selling away her most prized possession. Both of them came to ask me if they should make the sacrifice. Which would you have advised to go through with it? The quality of a knight's own swordsmanship is indeed far more important than that of their sword. So he should accept the loss and help his wife fulfill her dream. Still, if his wife ever learned that he had traded in his treasure for her dream, would she really be pleased to accept the gift? After all, you can always grow new flowers, even rare ones. But his sword was truly one of a kind. In either case, you could argue that trading in their treasure would be a huge mistake. There was no way to do them both justice. And ask them to hide their affection? Now why would I do that? That would only have led to regret. No, this was a rare opportunity to encourage a pair of lovers to break the day-to-day monotony, embrace the festive spirit, and do something truly romantic. Isn't it obvious? I encourage both of them to make the trade-off. I suppose you think I gave them even more cause for regret, huh? Quite the opposite. If their real goal was to show the other how much they cared, then neither the sword nor the flower truly mattered. Just imagine the scene when they finally exchanged gifts with each other. I'm sure that made for a festival that neither one of them will ever forget. Ah, yes. Even though she would no longer be able to tend to her beloved flower, she could be sure that it would continue to flourish. It could still thrive under the care of a fellow master, while her husband's long-time wish would finally be fulfilled. Still, if her husband ever learned that she had traded in her finest work to grant his wish, would he really be pleased to accept the gift? His wife had devoted years of her life to the cultivation of that flower, while the sword was simply something he'd inherited from his father. In other words, he'd done nothing to earn it. In either case, you could argue that trading in their treasure would be a huge mistake. There was no way to do them both justice. You get me, traveler. Neither object was all that important in comparison to a person's love for their partner. Just imagine the scene when they finally exchange gifts with each other. Want to join me in some choir practice? Just so you know, in choir singing, there's no I, only we. The goal is perfect harmony, like how the sounds of the world all blend seamlessly into the wind. Still, self-confidence is important. Newcomers to the choir are often too shy or afraid to sing. Why don't we do some vocal warm-ups? Here, like so. La 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 la. La 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 la. I did give it some serious thought, but ended up deciding against it. Idols have to be able to greet their fans with energy and enthusiasm. Being kind by nature, Barbara's always happy to oblige. But I struggle to spend time with people I find boring, which just so happens to be most of them. And when it comes to those who bore me, all I can muster up is the bare bones minimum. So I prefer to stay on the sidelines, observing how Barbara lives up to people's expectations of an idol. I won't lie, I find that far more satisfying than being an idol myself. Wait, do you want to be an idol? We still don't have an idol from the Knights just yet. The honorary Knight of Mondstadt, now the first Knight Idol of the land. Just thinking about it makes me giddy. Just leave the voice lessons to me. You'll be ready to make your debut in no time. Aw, what's the harm in trying? Come on, just follow my lead. Yee-yaw, yee-yaw. Morning! I was just about to go lead the morning prayers. Wanna come watch? I'm gonna ask Lord Barbados a pretty interesting question today. Good night. I just finished my evening prayers. May your dreams tonight be filled with peace and joy.
不如跟我一起练习合唱吧。无妨无妨，唱诗班负责的颂歌当中，并没有多少炫技的内容，只要感情足够真挚，绝大多数人都可以融入和声。先来试试嗓音吧。我确实认真的考虑过这种可能，但最终还是放弃了。作为偶像，需要足够的热情去面对大量的粉丝。芭芭拉心地善良，但对我来说，有趣的灵魂寥寥无几，无趣的灵魂比比皆是。对于自己不感兴趣的人，我恐怕只有力气维持基本的礼节。所以，我还是更想做一个旁观者，观察芭芭拉如何处理偶像身份带来的麻烦。不瞒你说，这样的体验比亲自当偶像有趣多了。对了，你想不想出道？骑士团还没出过偶像呢。荣誉骑士摇身一变，成为了骑士团的新锐偶像。这个设想很有意思，正好，跟我练习美声吧，我保证能帮你出道。先试一试总可以吗？来，跟我学。啊啊啊！